What up, y'all? We're here for our weekly anchor message. This is where we receive our lessons and focal points for the week as far as our soul direction is concerned. And so from the wild unknown archetypes, we've got the sustainer, followed by the starborn, and then followed by the shapeshifter. Underneath sustainer, we have temperance. Underneath starborn, we have the 5 of Pentacles. And underneath shapeshifter, we have 6 of Wands. All right, so for starters, I feel like we are coming into focus as far as having a lot of conviction and clarity around, what we stand for, our values, our beliefs. Our faith is strengthened. We have a new sense of direction and intention and vigor. And with that new level of certainty, we are able to see more clearly, like to detach from our ego and see when it is playing with us and playing tricks on us, and seeing the specific ways that it triggers us. And then we have built at least a level of self-mastery where we're able to catch it quick enough to pause ourselves from going on and snowballing and watching what our reflex response wants to be. What are those triggers reacting within us or activating within us? These are our patterns that are coming up. And the more that we can really get so super clear on identifying them, the less power they have and the less likely we will be to reflexively fall into that behavior. So it's like we're breaking the cycle and we are seeing it more clearly than ever. And so we're finding more ease in taking a step back, and instead of falling into that like reflexive muscle memory behavior, we're like, no, actually, I want to choose differently. Those aren't the seeds that I want to plant. I want to do something else instead. It's like when you can see, like when you're looking out over a distance and you're looking for something or like an animal or wildlife or an object, and it's got camouflage on it, right? Say it's a booby trap, right? You're looking for a booby trap and you're scanning the distance, and when you see the camouflage, you're like, oh, okay, I can see that now. I know to avoid it, right? Once the camouflage becomes obvious, you're like, oh, okay, I can see how it blended in before, but now that I know it's there, like it really stands out from the rest of the scene. So too with the ego and with the opponent. The opponent comes in and tries to provoke us in order to get a reaction. But when we see like basically the opponent comes in and provokes our ego, knowing that the ego falls in perfectly, in a collaboration with the ego. So when we can spot the ego's illusions and tricks and the opponent's illusions and tricks, that's like the camouflage. It's like the more clearly we can see what it is and spot it from a distance, that we foiled the trap. The trick doesn't work anymore. Like literally imagine like one of those cartoon devils, like the Satan, like trying to sneak up on you in camouflage, and he's gonna play a trick and trap you in some kind of darkness. But you can you turn around and he's like trying to be all sneaky, but you're like, I can see you. And then the devil has nothing to go on after that. So he's like, oh, and he's just like foiled, right? Like, I see your camouflage, I can see you, or you're right there. Like, I'm not going to fall for your trick, right? So the more that we, name the opponent, the less powerful the opponent is. The devil, the opponent, it would like for us to believe that he doesn't exist, right? Because if he doesn't exist, then we're not, watching out for the traps. And that way he can, and she, actually the opponent, there's a feminine opponent and a masculine opponent, a feminine Satan and a masculine Satan, but we'll go into that later. But, that's exactly what they want, is for us to think that the opponent isn't real, because then, it's easier to foil us that way, right? So one of the benefits of having seen through the veil to this degree is that we're also seeing that part of the way that life is playing out is that it morphs and it shifts, and it's presenting to us what we need at any given time. And it's kind of mirroring back to us the energy that we are giving to it. The word matrix, or it's so convenient, right? When we are provoked, we get into a certain energy, and then the situation plays out a certain way because it's playing on that energy. But if we shift our perception and our vibe changes, and our consciousness changes, and our energy changes, then the circumstances present, they're reacting to us, and they're presenting something different to us, right? So we're starting to understand how it works. And so this wisdom is coming through, and it's becoming more embodied, and we're starting to behave in a more regulated, certain, grounded, calm way, because we're now able to steady ourselves and still ourselves, like this character, and listen for the guidance of the Holy Spirit. See the doves here? And so the key is that the more that we understand that there's light and vessel, and God is the light, and everything else is vessels for channeling the light of God. And the more we understand that our sustainer is God, right? Then we understand that it's not the physical avenues through which we get things. Those come and go, and they can shift and change. And if one leaves, then another can come in. They're just portals for receiving the light of the Creator. And so when we have that revelation, it sets us free from all this anxiety and worry and tension and contraction that closes the vessel from receiving, and instead opens us up, and it fills us with faith and high vibrations. And so the more certain we are that it's the Creator that's the source and the sustainer, then the more greater we are sustained. And so it goes into this self-fulfilling loop where we keep showing appreciation for all that we are being given by the Creator. We share some of it, and we keep declaring the Creator's goodness and that the Creator's taking care of us. And then in that cycle, it just keeps perpetuating. The Creator is always eternally giving and sharing and flowing. And there's a whole bank of anything we'd ever want. Everything that's meant for us is in this big vault, right? Do you guys remember Scrooge McDuck, who would dive into his room of coins, of gold coins, the big vault with it was an enormous vault in his big mansion. It was full of coins, and he'd go swimming in his gold coins. Well, that's what we have. It's already all there. It's just that we have to be a functional vessel in order to be a magnet for that thing, and to be a functioning channel for that, right? We have to match the energy. So the more that we are aware that the Creator is our sustainer, the more greatly we are sustained. So it's really freeing, and it gives us even more peace and tranquility and fulfillment, which then adds to the momentum through which we are even more sustained, right? Because when we are in those good feeling emotions and high vibrations, and we have strong faith that we're being provided for, then it is there, right? It is there. Everything that we need will be taken care of. So resting in the knowledge of that and being confident in that and being able to rest in that and relax and be at ease and at peace. And that is the thing that starts to build fulfillment. And it's, I think that that's really what's taking place right now. And I mean, think about it, right? Like, we have a job that gives us money, and we get obsessed about like whether or not we're going to keep our job or get laid off or get fired or whatever. But the Creator's in control, and we have already been, it's already been decided what we're going to make this year. And like how that plays out might vary depending on the process that we need in the moment. But like, there's like divine order, and God knows all the needs that you have. And so knowing that, you're like, okay, yes, the job is the means through which I get paid, but God is making sure that I have this job, that the company's doing well, that my position here is protected. And if I am let go, then that means that there is another door that is opening that's going to expand me. I'm going to be taken to something better if I can maintain the faith and understanding that that's what's happening. But if I get panicked and I start becoming affected, then I get desperate and I start, putting myself into bad situations, right? Or not thinking through and getting into chaos. So same with the algorithm, right? Or promoting yourself. You can do everything that you can to promote yourself, to have the right algorithm. But at the end of the day, God's your publicist. And when your energy is in the right place, and when, the variables are aligned the way that, like, there's so much that we don't understand, right? So a lot of it has to do with surrender and trust, and not relying on our own reason and logic, because sometimes it doesn't make sense to us because there's so much we don't see and so much we don't know. So sometimes we just have to trust the Creator, trust the man, for God's sake, trust the Creator, take our hands off the wheel, enjoy the scenery, look out the window, stop being so controlling. Right? Have you ever been in that situation where somebody just keeps questioning your every move and they want you to explain yourself, and you're like, I can't explain, just trust me, okay? Just relax, just chill. Right? Kind of the same, where you just need to chill and do our best, right? Not be complacent, not bypass our responsibility, not shrug it off, but do our part, and then trust the Creator is going to meet us halfway, right? The Creator knows all of our needs, and the Creator knows that we want to use our talents and our gifts and put those out in the world. So it's all in good timing. The fruit, if picked too soon, is going to be bitter, right? So we have to wait on that timing, even though sometimes we get impatient. It's not logical. We want to have what we want to have now. We want instant gratification. But that's the ego. That's that flesh consciousness, right? That's part of the weekly energy, is identifying that and cleansing ourselves of that, and so that we can be at more peace and feel more fulfillment and open that flow of ease and harmony and abundance and just having needs met, right? Chill, not worried, exactly, not worried. And so here we have the opposite of that. We have scarcity, we have nervous wreck. Oh my God, I have an ulcer. I'm so worried about everything that's happening. Look, my ulcer is internally bleeding because I am so sick inside about, wow, how am I going to meet my needs? Everything's got to get paid. All these things are coming up. Ugh. All these minute problems and big problems and global problems and my own minutia. And then, person over there is getting on my nerves. And see, the thing is about the characters that are in the Five of Pentacles cards are always depicted in their own suffering, and they're kind of looking down and into themselves. And they're not seeing that there is a refuge and a safe house and a temple behind them, offering them light, offering them nourishment, right? And so they're like, what are we going to do for the night? Where are we going to go? And it's like, the answer's there. You're just so into yourself that you're not looking up, and you're not looking to the creator and looking to higher guidance to pull you through and to provide for you. That's exactly what the raising up of the bronze snake was in the desert for the Israelites. When they had all the snake bites, they had been complaining, and then they were afflicted with the snake bites. And so then Moses was told to make a bronze snake and raise it up on a pole for them to look up at. And it was high up, and they had to like literally take their gaze from downtrodden up higher, and they were asked to do that act of faith and believe. But it was getting them out of their own self-obsessed worry and victimized pity party for the self. And I mean, not to be too hard on ourselves, but we need to paint a picture here. So looking up, getting your mind set in a different direction, elevating that consciousness and looking for the solution rather than the problem, and seeing challenges as actually opportunities given to us in this game of life to earn us more points and to get us to that higher level, right? So, think about like an athlete that wants to go climb a mountain. The harder the mountain, the greater the accomplishment, the greater the glory, right? They're not wanting to do the easy mountains. That's for amateurs. That's for vacation people, right? They take pride in the difficulty. And, when we are wanting to really do the transformation and do our good work and really push that cosmic scale in the right direction for the light, then the more shadow work we do, the more we delve into our lower nature and try to transform that selfishness, that scaredness, that sadness, that desire to only receive for the self, and want to bypass the process, get instant gratification, settle for less just to have it now. Like, we're overcoming that lower self-consciousness, right? And so we have these two cards here, the Starborn and the Five of Pentacles. And it's that lack consciousness and that scarcity and that feeling that we have to do something quick or else. It's like that's what causes us to lose out or to self-sabotage or to act too quickly or to miss our chance, our window. And so it's that scarcity consciousness that triggers the ego into those subconscious defense mechanisms, right? It's like, survival mode, threat, have to take an action, have to control the situation. So this gets your ego going, and then your patterns get going, and you start becoming reactive, and you're not sovereign. And so you're delaying aligning with your higher destiny. The Starborn card talks about us as these star beings, these light beings, these spirits born under this imprint of the astrology, right? And it's almost like a picture that's taken of the first draft of the script. Let's just call it that. That's what our fate is. And if we don't change, if we don't do any of the work, if we stay in this original, version of ourselves throughout our life, we'll live out the first version of the script. And we won't really fulfill our fuller potential, and we'll have a certain amount of chaos and suffering to go through, and that'll be that. But when we actually get in there and we do the dirty work and we go in and we look for those parts of our ego that we need to correct for, that's when we kind of stir up the dirt. We get dirty, we get impure, so to speak, because it's like we've just put different substances in the liquid, right? We're not dirty and degraded and shameful. That's not what we mean by impure. It just means, like, think about a pure substance, right? Think about water. Think about a beautiful babbling brook, and it's all clear and perfect. And then when you step into it, it aggravates the bed of the creek. And if there's not enough gravel, then it stirs up clouds of silt and dirt. And then you're like, oh, I wanted it to be perfect and clear when I walked into the water, and now I've stirred up all the dirt. Now it's all gross and dirty. But it's not really. It's just like you've stirred up a whole bunch of stuff, and it's got to, sift through. And maybe even in the process, you might find minerals and gemstones, but it'll all cleanse itself once it's taken through the moving water, right? So at first, when you're decluttering a closet, it gets dirtier before it gets better. And so we're not going backwards by having these triggering moments right now. We're actually going forward. It's a cyclical thing, right? We go round and round, we go up and up. So the scarcity that we're seeing in ourselves this week is a gift, because we are getting a chance to practice our new consciousness and rewrite our subconsciousness with new programming and new apps and new functionality, right? The more that we transform that negativity and correct our soul, then the script gets written. Every single day we do work on ourselves. Scripts gets rewritten at night while we're asleep, and in the morning we have a little bit better destiny than what we would have had the day before. So the more of this work we do, the better, because then it's just revealing a higher destiny day after day after day. And we're aligning with our most authentic self, because we're pulling off those layers that aren't really us. Layers of defense mechanisms, layers of projection, layers of assumption and prejudice, right? So, which brings us to Shapeshifter and Six of Wands. And so the way that the creator gave me this imagery today was amazing, and I hope y'all like it. Okay, so, and I know I've got a lot of male viewers, and so that y'all might appreciate this example. So, X-Men, well, we are all like Mystique. Mystique is the X-Man, or one of the mutant people. She's not really an X-Man because she's one of the bad guys, but she's not in the gang, the X-Men gang, but she's one of the mutant people. And so in this future, in this comic book world, people are mutating and they are having these extraordinary superpowers, but they many times are kind of out of control, and so they can be kind of destructive and inconvenient until they learn how to discipline these powers for their higher good, right? For their usefulness. And so a lot of the good guys became good guys because they got to go to this academy where a really good professor teaches them how to hone their gifts. Well, the bad guys in this world are people who didn't have this positive mentorship, and maybe they didn't really learn how to hone their gifts. And so they're kind of that's their origin story. They became villains. And so life provoked them into sourness and defensiveness and bitterness and anger and revenge and all of that. And so now they're using their powers for evil. So setting up this explanation of Mystique. The Shapeshifter, there's three elements that I am going to point out that are major shapeshifters in this matrix game that we live and move and have our being in. We are shape-shifting all of the time because depending on the state of our consciousness, our mindset, our mood, our thoughts, our feelings, we are vibing, our aura is changing, and we are shape-shifting. And we are projecting an image according to our vibration and shape of the moment. Our opponent, the Satan, who's antagonizing us in this game through all different methods and works, is also a shapeshifter. Okay? And the world we're in, the matrix that we're in this game, is also shapeshifting in nature. And it's all reacting, all the shapes are playing off of the source of we are the source of what we are seeing, the energy that we are seeing projected at us. So all the shapeshifting is really, it's playing off of our consciousness, our emotion, our heart, our vibration. So what happens in this order is, okay, so we're in this realm, and whatever experience we're being shown in the moment, say we're in a neutral game level at the moment. Now the Satan's sneaking in, and he's like, okay, I'm going to suck the energy out of these people. So I'm going to provoke them. I want these people to be in the image of me, right? So I am going to provoke them into becoming fearful. Maybe that fearful is the thing of the day for the Satan. Maybe he wants you to be lustful. Maybe he wants you to grasp in a greediness. Maybe he wants you to feel scarcity. Ooh, like things are running out. Time's running out. There's not going to be enough. Oh, it's not going to happen. Maybe he wants you to feel despair or devastated. Well, whatever the Satan is putting in front of you to provoke you, your reaction to it is exacerbating or adding to the environment that is coming at you. So the reality that you are seeing is responding to you. It's mirroring your image. And the opponent is wanting you to mirror the opponent's image back to him. And what are we made in? God's image. But God wants us to mirror God's image. But unless we're making an effort, whose image are we mirroring? We are a neutral vessel. So whose image are we mirroring? Whoever we're reactant to, right? And so the creator, if we are in the mirror image of the creator, we are the cause, not the effect. If we're the mirror image of the Satan, we are the effect, and the Satan's the cause. So, like Mystique was the character that's like all blue and was first played by Rebecca Romaine, used to be Stamos, not anymore. And now the most recent is Jennifer Lawrence. And so it's the blue chick who like changes shape, and she can become anyone that she wants to look like. Well, I'm not like super versed in X-Men canon, although it does seem like I'm like an expert, but I'm not. So I'm assuming that in her early years, she probably like had a hard time maintaining one image, or like she would probably slip into other images by accident, just by being like influenced by their presence, right? Or like her focus on that presence or whatever. So in my mind, I would think in order for her to hone in her ability to be herself sometimes and be neutral or be another character, she would have had to develop discipline and focus to establish like control over what image she is projecting at any given time. So too are we. We have to make it a discipline and a focus and a consistent awareness of saying, am I in the image of God right now, or am I in the image of the opponent? And we don't need to beat ourselves up about it, but this is just a tool that we can check in with, right? When the Satan says jump, do you jump? Right? When the Satan says be scared, are you scared? Do you react? Do you try to control everything to alleviate your fear? Or can you sit in the fear and be like, this is just an illusion. There's no actual validity in any of this. I'm just like paranoid, right? And this is my ego, and I can identify this and choose not to react to this. I can choose the way I want to move forward. And so this realization in us is like giving us so much momentum, because not only are we becoming so much more aware of our old patterns, we're becoming aware of how to play by the spiritual laws of this game of life. And now we're also seeing that, the Satan is a shapeshifter, which is also causing me to be a shapeshifter, which is shapeshifting my reality for better or for worse. And so if I'm giving, dark moods, we're not getting Anya back. We're not getting pure moods back. We're getting dark moods, not pure moods. And we need to be giving pure moods. So I hope that helps. Just like learning this week as we are seeing our triggers come up, laughing at ourselves, but observing what is the desired behavior. What are we trying so hard not to do? What do we like what are we able to restrict for a time, and then it's just like, oh, I can't hold it in any longer, right? Just observing those behaviors, and the more that we can be aware of them and call them out, the less power they will have, the more likely we will break those habits, create better habits and better patterns, and then start aligning with that next chapter of our life, that next level. All right, you all. Well, tomorrow we will be back together for our weekly manifestation message. So until then, peace be with you. Like, subscribe, comment. It helps these messages get out to other people that need them. And also, if you are caught up on the entire internet and you've watched all your comfort shows for the 400th time, and you're looking for something to do during the dog days of summer, there are still several months of the year left. We're only halfway through the year. And so the 2025 prediction series is basically a year-long workshop to do for yourself through, each month of the year. And so there are monthly readings, and there are journal questions in the description box for those monthly readings to help you workshop through each month's sort of lessons and things that we're going through, and your goals and intentions. And then there are quarterly readings for each season of the year. So we've got a yearly overview, we've got quarterly readings, and we've got each monthly reading in that. So that is, if you follow the link in the description box below to my Stan store, it is $10, and you will see it. There's only one other listing. It's for a marketing course. So it's the 2025 prediction series. It's really packed with value. It's been very helpful so far. And even me going back and listening to them myself, even retroactively, some of the months that have already passed, I've gone back and then thought, oh, wow, that is so true. It really did play out that way. It gives me so much more context and understanding about the way that life is unfolding through the year and where it's kind of leading me and guiding me. And it helps get prepared for to take advantage of upcoming opportunities, and it helps you prepare for to strengthen yourself for upcoming challenges as well. So I think it's a very useful tool, very high value, $10. And yeah, see y'all later. Ciao.